Street. So we'll just wait for 1 more minute and then start.
Okay.
How was the Bhagavad Gita chanting?
It went very well.
Yeah.
It went very well. It was very nice. We had a full lot of about 125 people had joined.
Wow.
What was the
Namaskaram,
retreat?
Mahodaya.
What was the retreat about, sir?
Retreat was different. Retreat was in November. So that was Atma Bodha. We were covering Atma Bodha there.
Oh, wonderful. So what was this now?
This was Gita Jayanti, Bhagavad Gita
Oh,
Jayanti.
oh, lovely. And where was this?
Bangalore.
This was in Bangalore,
Okay.
and we were doing this in, if you are aware of Bangalore, East End, Jayanagar.
Right. No, I'm not. But anyway, nice. I'm glad to hear that.
We did the entire 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita.
We had it on 8th of Jan
Oh,
in Hyderabad.
wonderful, wonderful. Astu. Prarambham karishyamah. Ekanimisha. Om. योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं वागर्थाविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्थप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ वासुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं हरिः ओम्. I think I have forgotten to record on this computer. Okay. So, सर्वेभ्यः सुस्वागतम्. गतसप्ताहे कक्षा नासीत्. We had a small function at home, so I couldn't take the class. We'll continue from where we left off. And if I remember right, we were discussing Bhakti. Bhakti, what is Bhakti and Kimartam Bhakti? That was the whole scope of our discussion that we started. And we saw some paradigms in it. We saw, we said in Bhakti we can get to a point where Krishna said, start with something. Start from somewhere. So we started with that Ananda, the Ananda Swarupa. We had a small discussion around Ananda Swarupa. Then we saw what is Bhagavad Gita, Kinchid Adhita. Okay, I'll just 1 minute. I'll get to this. Yeah. We saw this last week. We said Bhagavad Gita, Kinchit Adhita, Ganga Jalalava Kalika Pita, Sakradapi Yena Murari Samarja, Kriyate Tasya Yamena Na Charcha. That is where we started, and that is where we said, the concept of Bhakti. If you have Bhakti on Bhaja, Bhakti comes from originates from this one of Bhaj Dhatoho Utpattihi Bhavishyati. Tatra agre gatva, if you look at it, we saw this Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatare Shayanam. Iha samsare bahudostare kripaya pare pahi murare. Very famous shloka of Bhaja Govindam. In fact, this one shloka just summarizes everything that we go through. So, samsara. So, yesterday, as one Vachika was describing, samsara is not. Yes, of course, the idea is samyak sarati tat samsara. That is known. But samsara is not just about fighting with the spouse or being happy with the kitten or being worried about not being married, not having money, not having this. Yes, that is one part of it. That is one small speck in the, as they say, in the universe. If you look at where we stand in the whole idea of the universe, we are a small speck as a galaxy, and in that galaxy we are a small speck as a solar system. In that we are probably a small dot compared to the sun, and or compared to Jupiter, and a smaller dot compared to that sun. And then as on that planet there are 84 million species. Of that species we are one species, and of that we are some 6 billion people, and in that 6 billion people, probably one among that 6 billion, and in that one among that 6 billion, our mind can manifest and devastate us if we want to. So that is one part. But then it's not just about that. Samsara is about going through this process of life and death over and over and over again. So that is what the shloka is saying. And Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatare Shayanam. Whenever you come back, all that matters to any being, any living being, is Jatare Shayanam. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah. Pranapana Samayuktam Prachamyanam Chaturvidam. That quintessential Paramatman is saying, I am there as that Jataragni, or the hunger in your stomach is me. And I am the one keeping this going over and over and over again. And it's not just, this one time. It's over life, cycles and cycles of birth and death. So our whole idea is Bhaja Govindam, taki you go beyond that, so that you cross this. That is the idea. Then we also Ratyacharpada Vicharita Kantaha. So what happens to those who have crossed? We saw that earlier. We saw that state of 10 to the power 22 state of Ananda. Ananda is not to be confused with happiness. In fact, Ananda is the absence of any dukkha. Or sukha or dukkha. There is no the equanimity phase, what we are unable to probably understand at some point. That is what the Ananda was described as. And then, okay. So we said that there is a Mula mantra for all this, which is Bhakti. And this is where we started the discussion. It comes from the Bhaj Dhatu. And then Parama Prema Rupam Amrita Swarupa Cha. This is what Narada Bhakti Sutra tells us about Bhakti. What is Bhakti? If you ask a simple definition of Bhakti, Satu Asmin Parama Prema Swarupa. The first and the most quintessential form of prema or prema that you can see is Bhakti. It is not Vatsalya, it is not between husband and wife, it is not that you showcase between two friends. It is beyond that state, where there is no form of transactional value that is ever coming in. So if you can say, can you revel in yourself and unconditionally say, I love myself? That is one Swarupa. And then what is the qualifier for it? Amrita Swarupa Cha. That which takes you exactly what it was saying about Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Kripaya Pare Pahi Murare. That state is gone. Beyond that state is gone. There is no form of coming, going and all that. Amrita Tattva. Amrita Tattvaya Kalpate. Amritatvaya Kalpate. So that's why Ishavasya Upanishad says, no? What is that? Amritattva, I forget. I'll come back to it when as I recollect. So that is that comes as, you are the permanent being. Okay, so then we saw the 4 forms of bhakti, Chaturvida bhakti, Artha, Artharthi, Jigyasu, and Gnani. And of these, Gnani is the one I like the most, is what Krishna said. So what is this Gnani? Is a question that comes. One who knows, Gnani is someone, Yah Gyayate Sa Gnani. So we cannot experience that ultimate Brahman. One who is in the know of that Parama Brahman is the Gnani. Brahmavida apnoti param. One who knows Brahman knows everything. That is what Taittiriya Upanishad says. That is the teachings of all Upanishads put together. If I were to give one cryptic statement on what every Upanishad is teaching, Brahmavida apnoti, Brahmavid apnoti param. One who knows the Brahman knows everything. Then it qualifies. Sa yesha bhyukta satyam gnanam anantam brahma. What are the qualifiers for that Brahman? Satyam gnanam anantam or sat chit ananda. Satyam gnanam anantam brahma. Then it goes on to describe how to get there, etc., etc. But the quintessential teaching of any Upanishad, yes, Brahmavid apnoti param. So that is where the Gnani state lies. And all of us, in some sense, even an Arthaha, Artharthi or Jigyasu, is in some sense, in his own way, in his or her own way, trying to get that. Okay. So that is where it is going. And then, then it said, what are the qualifiers? Samadhanaya Moola Mantra. We saw that Samadhana as one of the sadhana, Shama Damadi Shad Sampat. Shama Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha. Samadhana was the last one. So how do you get that Samadhana? Through Bhakti. Right? Mayyeva Mana Adastva, Mayi Buddhim Niveshaya. Nivasishyasi mayyeva ata urvam na samshayah. If you are fixated on me, this is Krishna saying, so I can say fixated on me. When it is me, understand Krishna. This is from Bhagavad Gita. So in this case, you can take any form of Paramatman. In any form you think can be manifested, unmanifested, whatever form you want to take. Suppose you are not able to do that. Ata chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi. In case you are unable to do this, Mai sthiram, abhyasa yogena tataha, practice yoga. Yoga is not about maths and exercises. It is Ashtanga yoga, where it goes beyond asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Those 4-5 parts are very, very critical. It is not 1 hour of yoga and 23 hours of ayoga or viyoga. So it is yoga it's a lifestyle. But ichhaptum dhananjaya, with a desire, with a desire to join with me. That is the second form. If you are always already there, well and good. If you are not, then this yoga will help you. Suppose you are not able to do that also. Abhyase api asamartaha asi mat karma paramaha bhava. Do all the work for me. Do everything that you are doing as something that you are doing for the Paramatma. Nothing else. Madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. This is the third form. Suppose you can't lead a lifestyle that is so, you are not yet in that state where you are continuously living. Karma. Do the karma with a full-fledged devotion in me. Anything and everything that I do will be for you. Suppose that is also difficult. Krishna is very straightforward. He says, no, no, don't. If you are not able, I will not say, jump to a 10th standard or do a PhD on day one. No, no, no. I'll take you, hold your hand. Just say, I want to do it. That's good enough. I'm not going to thrust you into something. Says, Atha yetadapi ashaktah asi. Atha yetad api asakshataha asi. Atha etad apyashaktosi. That's what this is to be split as. Atha yetadapi ashaktaha asi. Kartum. Even to do this, if it is very difficult, madhya madhyogam ashritah. Mad yogam ashritah. In me. To start that, if it's difficult, don't say I'm doing all the work for you. Okay, it's difficult for you to say. No problems. Sarva karma phalatyagam kuru. Whatever you get as the fruits of that action, just say it is for you. Start by saying it. That's good enough. Then it will automatically start coming to Paramatma. Whatever are the fruits, don't claim I did this, so I got it, I deserve this. So usually what happens is, Parvati Mahadeva was giving that example last time, how can I give something which is not good to Paramatma? That is one extreme. I'll give you the other extreme, what usually happens with a lot of people, especially with a lot of us when we are starting on. If we are successful about doing something, then it's all me, my effort, I put in the hard work, I did the right things, and etc., 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 etc. Okay, I think I'm going to have a little bit of a challenge. I'll do one thing, I'll switch off the video because I'll be done. Okay, yeah. So it says, I did everything, so it is me. But the moment it's a failure, it all comes, how can this ever happen to me? Natural tendency. It's a very natural tendency. All that Krishna is saying, be equanimous, say both of them are not mine. It's all Paramatma's. Give that phalatyaga. Do that phalatyaga to begin with. Okay. So that is the state that we said, and we saw this. Did we see this slide? I think we did, no? Karma phalatyaga. Start from karma phalatyaga, which is what is in it for me. Start without saying, take out that idea of what is there in it for me. Set targets, set the goals, set all the things that needs to be done for a work. Prayojanam gyatva karyam karotu. That's very important. Without knowing a prayojana, getting into something is not right. Prayojanam gyatva, get into it. But once you get into it, accept whatever comes. It's okay. Okay. Now, when you take that out, then the practice of, okay, now the karma is also starts slowly saying, okay, this karma is for Paramatman. Slowly that starts happening. And when it becomes an abhyasa, it becomes yoga by itself. Now that yoga will get itself to be established in that Paramatman. Okay, so this is the, transitional journey that we all go through, or we should all go through ideally. Okay. So this is the point that Krishna is making here. So with this background about Bhakti as to this is the way it is, today what we will do, we'll move a little forward, see a few more shlokas and see how this progresses. Yes, Parvati Mahadeva.
So whatever we do, so when you set a goal, it is for something that that you think is necessary, right?
Yes, that is necessary. Yes, yeah. No problem. Start from there.
But what does it mean? What is it in it for me? Because I'm doing it something because I didn't get that part. So you set a goal for something.
Okay, correct.
That is that you think is necessary for you.
Yes. So let me answer it differently. See, Krishna never said don't have a desire. He never said, he said, Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarishabha. I am that desire. I am the quintessential desire in itself. But don't attach yourself to that desire. Don't get, See, we just did that Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Moha. Don't be attached. If I don't get it, I will be, worried. I'll get into depression. Suppose I get it, I'm happy, I'll dedicate it to the Paramatma. Step one. Suppose I don't get it, I will still dedicate, or whatever I get. Sometimes we get partial results, or most of the times we get partial results. It does not go exactly the way we want it. Right? So that also will dedicate. So you're taking out that when it says take out that what's in it for me, it means that, take whatever is needed, but the remaining you just say, thank you. Or even that whatever you are taking for yourself, thank you for whatever you're given. This I need to sustain my life. I'm taking this. This is also your Bhagavad Prasada. Prasada Buddhi. We'll see that in future, in the next few slides. That is what comes as Prasada Buddhi. Yes, Basavaraj Mahodaya, you had something to ask.
Yeah, I think though there might be a small difference in what Parvati Mahodaya was saying. Well, I think in Vyavaharik, right, we have to expect some result. Whereas when it comes to Bhakti, I think we got to be totally no expectation. Like
No,
we
it is
don't
not.
expect
Okay.
anything.
Okay. Even, okay, let
Instant
me
assistant.
clarify that. Even in Vyavahara, see, even when you're going on Adhyatma, your expectation of the result is you'll get, moksha. So technically, there is an expectation at both ends. You are not starting off any journey without setting a goal or a target. The target is definitely set. Only reason you are not saying, oh, I didn't get moksha this time, you are not worried and you are not trying, is because you know that the journey is long. Suppose we were to do that the same way with this as well, with Vyavahara as well, and take a little bit of hands-off approach and say, it's all right. I'll probably put in a little more effort, or let me go back to the table. I'll give a very simple, like, I actually want to narrate a story. In fact, this happened in Professor Mahadevan's class. So there is this Narayanan Subramaniam. Nakaprabhu Mudaya, just hang on, I'll bring this after the story. Who is feeding about 500, 600 people, destitutes every day. He was a famous cook, chef, world famous chef. He got an offer in Lausanne in Switzerland. He was supposed to leave that day. He comes from Madurai. And then, as with any of our parents usually, the mother said, you should go to the temple today before you leave. Took him to the temple, went there, via the Madurai Amman temple, Meenakshi temple. Returning, he saw somebody who was scavenging on his own feces. Okay. That turned his heart. He said, what can I do to make this fellow's life better? And he then just started feeding people. Every single day, he said, I'm a cook. I know how to cook. I'm going to just make food and give it to people. That's about it. And he opened a kitchen and he started doing this. So, fast forward, he is very successful in doing this. He feeds about so many people every day, so on and so forth. So now he came to IIM to give a lecture. In fact, Professor Madhavan himself had invited him, and he was very successful doing so and so for about 5-7 years or so. So one of the things that, things that come up, everything goes on and on. So one student, as usual, towards the end, we have a Q&A session, and one student asked him, what is the kind of expenditure that you have? We do management, so we need to do cost benefit, costing, etc. You need to plan for the next day. You need to have a lot of things. Obviously, if you're feeding 500 people, it's not a joke. Or 1,000 or 2,000 people thrice a day, it's some expenditure. What's the kind of expenditure? At that point in time, he said it comes to about 2 to 3 lakhs a day. So somebody said, how do you generate funds? He said there are funding people who will come forward, give donations, etc., 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 and all that. And yeah, it is a challenge, but yeah, we do get through. So one person asked, what if someday you realize that there is no money? Very natural scenario, no? You have taken up such a huge responsibility. Now you have about 1,000 people relying on you for food. Now those 1,000 people need to be fed. And one day you wake up and realize there is no money to feed. I mean, very, very thinkable problem, right? Very conceivable situation. So then, the discussion could have been where we could have let him answer, but we said, no, Madhavan sir said, no, you come up with the solution. Let's see how you people think. So somebody came up with, we'll drop a contingency plan, we'll have this, we'll have that. It went on and on and on. We'll have backups, and this is the kind of my cash flows. We went into long discussion. There was a long discussion on it. And then so I said, why don't you answer? Why don't we hear him out? You know what he said? He just said, any idea what his thought was, what he said?
Yeah, his thought would have been that
I'm not the one
Krishna
who's
is the
doing
one
it.
who is
Yeah.
making us do it. He will give us the whatever is needed.
Something like that, but differently. He said, the day I find that I'm unable to fulfill this, I'll go back to the drawing board and ask myself, where did I go wrong? Now that is a very different, he did not say I'm not setting targets. He did not say I'm not having money. He did not say I don't have a contingency plan. Now that, and I'll ask, where did I go wrong? Please guide me. That is a very different state of mind to ask. That requires a very different form to get into. Right? He is also performing his duty. He is also doing a lot of work. And he also knows that will lead to something good, not good, right, wrong, enough people commenting, doing, etc., etc. But that's the way he took it. Right? So does that answer your question of what's in it for me? Parvati Madhya?
But I've come across a lot of people who also say everything is, but I don't know if they really mean it or they just,
See,
whatever I do, it is for.
See, the simple.
Sometimes it's like a cliche.
Thing,
yeah.
The proof of the pudding is in eating. If they have been successfully doing this for so many years.
Oh, I'm not talking about this gentleman, but generally, I've come across people.
No, anybody. I'll give you another way that it works in Vyavahara. See, you go to any, I do a lot of startup mentoring. So in startup mentoring, there are various ways you can measure the success of a startup. There are various metrics. You can look at their valuations, you can look at how much they're selling out for, or how much of investments they're getting, what is their turnover, what is their profits, so on and so forth. So many things we can do. Okay. And there are many incubators. Bangalore is full of incubators. If you ever come to Bangalore, Kormangla is said that,
Yes.
if you land in Kormangla, somebody will find you and give you money. Okay, all that you have to say is I'm having a start. But yeah, jokes apart. So the way NSR cell measures success is not about any of these. We don't look at whether you have made revenues, whether you have successful revenues, money, being sold out, having so much of market share.
Yes.
Secondary. If from the day you joined NSR cell, 5 years from that date, if you are still running that company or if you have pivoted into doing something in the startup world, we would consider you successful. Simple. That means, what does it mean? 5 years, you have first survived. You are eating. You are doing something that is started off and not given up. You'll figure out your way. Eventually, things will go up. Not everybody needs to become a Bill Gates in the next world. Next 2 years. Things can go. Many people are happy with a small kirana store. People have different level of appetite. And we have had so many unicorns from I can count 18, 20 unicorns coming out here. Okay. So it all depends on our perspective of doing it. And this, I think Saraswati speaks of it as effectuation in a lot of ways, in different ways. Okay, but what I'm saying is this is very much an applicable, it can be easily translated into Vyavahara, that too in a corporate, cutthroat corporate world. I'm not talking of families where we say, okay, out of law, it's okay, give up, do this. No. I'm talking of a cutthroat corporate world where tomorrow you don't have it, you may not be there. It is possible. You can do it. Okay. But that what's in it for me, giving up that what's in it for me is not about giving up goals or targets, but saying I'll accept everything that comes. And then saying, okay, this is what was there in it for me. A better way to frame it is, okay, this was what was there in it for me. Okay. So if you take it that way, things will become automatically right.
It's
Yes.
just like saying, what is destined to me, I'll have it.
Not what is destined, because then people will start saying, why should I even work?
Yeah.
No, I mean to say, you put all the effort, but what the result is, what is my destiny?
No. Maudya, that is, that has a negative connotation, especially I understand where you're coming from a Vedantic perspective, but that has a negative connotation here. So we need to be very cognizant of the fact that people will say, okay, was all there, why should I work more? It should not lead to that sort of state. Your effort should equally be as much as you put earlier or even better.
Yeah,
Right.
we can always say I did do my part and I did my part
Yeah,
honestly.
that's it.
And this is what I get because this is what my destiny. I mean, I didn't say destiny, but this is what.
So to answer your question differently, Maudya, it should be Daivan Chaivatra Panchamam. I think that answers it better. So
Yes.
let's keep it to that. So this was destiny. I'll just keep it to destiny a little away. Yes, this was what was there. This was what has to come. This has come. And I'm happy about it. Saying thank you, I've got it, is different from saying this was what was destined for me.
This is what was meant for me.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll take from Nagapurva Maudya, then Shalini. Nagapurva Maudya.
Maudaya, namaste.
Namaste.
Just I wanted to add on. I understood. Now it's clear, but you can set goals according to your dharma.
Yeah,
according to your dharma, a student have a dharma. In your profession, you have a dharma. You can set that goal, different goals. But we have to be in the present moment. Not our mind is not in the future, in the fruits, right? Have to be in the present.
Talk about dharma probably in the next class. Just hang into that point. There is a catch there. See, this whole discussion in Bhagavad Gita came about because of Arjuna saying, this is not dharma. So the understanding of dharma has to be very clear, in which case, which becomes fuzzy. Correct?
For Arjuna, is Yuddha is dharma.
Kshatriya.
That is Swadharma.
At present. But his desire was to become a king, no? Become like for his kingdom.
Doing right for his
What
kingdom.
they lost it from Kauravas, they want to get it back.
Correct. But all the points that he made in chapter 1, if you go back and read.
Take the revenge.
Correct. But whatever points he made in chapter 1 will tell you that he was not wrong. So the dharma sukshma of swadharma versus paradharma has to be absolutely clear. Yes, his swadharma as a kshatriya is to do whatever without questioning what is there. But then there are points. The mind can lead you astray on a path which you will not even understand. And let me make it very clear. In the 17 chapters, Krishna never once said what the points Arjuna made in chapter 1 were wrong. Okay. He never countered those points. All that he said was, this is what you need to do. This is what is your swadharma. He brought him back to track. That's a different story. But the points he made were never actually fully, or rather he countered it, but he never actually said, what you're saying is wrong. That was not what he said. Even the first shloka where Krishna started, Ashocyan anvashocastvam pragyavadarshya bhashase gatasuna gatashursha narushochandi panditaha. You are thinking about things that you should not be thinking about. He did not say what you are thinking is wrong.
Yes.
All that he said was, this is not in the realm or domain of what you should be thinking.
That
Okay.
he said, I will leave all this and go for
I'll
sannyasa.
go.
Will take
No,
sannyasa.
that is one part. I'll run away to the mountains is one part. That he countered, said, shut up. That is not what you are supposed to do. That he clearly countered. That part he countered. No, that is not what I'm saying. He made 4 statements. Someday we'll have a discussion around that. But he made 4 things. In short, what he said was, one thing. First thing he said was, there will be a huge calamity if I fight. Who are they? They are after all my brothers,
Family, yeah.
friends, family.
Teachers. Yeah.
How is fighting with family right? Second point he made, women will
Ladies.
suffer. Society will suffer because women will suffer.
Yeah.
Very true. And
Yeah.
each argument was progressive, exponentially more stronger than the other. Third argument he made was Guru. Guru ni hatvani mahanubhavan. That was the final argument. Right? Tell me, is that a wrong argument to make? Nowhere will you see Krishna saying that's a wrong argument to make. All that he said was that is not right. Contextually, it is wrong. So unless you are absolutely clear about dharma, that talk about dharma becomes challenging. That's why I'll bring that slide. I think I showed it last year sometime. I'll bring it again next week. Probably we'll have a discussion around that dharma concept again. Okay.
But also at the end, he said, after teaching you everything, now it is up to you what you want to do.
Yes, because he had
That's
brought
also he
his
said.
state of mind back. So chapter 1 is not about Arjuna making wrong statements. It's about the state of failed leadership. So there's a huge difference between leadership, decision making, and making arguments.
Emotional.
Finding the right arguments. So if you are strayed by wrong arguments, you'll end up making wrong leadership decisions. Okay. So the Dharma Sukshma is very different. So I don't know how the conversation would have gone had Yudhishthira made these arguments. In what way would have been what it because Yudhishthira throughout had forgiven Duryodhana at some point, forgiven that who was that Jayadratha who killed Abhimanyu. There were many instances where he could have finished them off. Yudhishthira had done all these things throughout Mahabharata. If you read, there were so many points. Yudhishthira did not have an iota of doubt that this Yuddha is right. Okay. So there are many instances. So setting goals according to Dharma requires us to know Dharma very, very deeply. Okay. So that is going to be a challenge. So that's where Krishna is saying, don't worry too much about those problems. Align yourself with me. Simpler. He's giving a simpler solution. Simplified solution. Align your goals with whatever I think has to be done. Now, don't get into these problems of this is right to do. You said, whatever you are going to guide me, I will be there. Okay. So that hopefully that answers your question, Nagaprabha Mahodaya.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Shalini Mahodaya, Bhavatyaha Krishna.
There was no question. I just wanted to add, when Parvati Mode said that, in the real life world, we normally don't see people acting like that. So I just wanted to quote another example that I had seen in, there's a program that you must be aware of, Kaun Banega Crorepati, and there was a couple featured there, a doctor couple, who also run an NGO in Rajasthan, and they basically work on rehabilitation of street people on the streets. So if there are children who have run away, they try to make them hand them over to their parents, reconcile people who have run away from home, stuff like that. So when Amitabh Bachchan asked him, what is the expenditure? So he says about same thing, around 1.5 to 2 lakhs per day, because they have 33 centers pan India. So he said, how do you manage that kind of money? I mean, So he had a very interesting, I think something like that only, but at that point of time, I found it very interesting. He said that in the lobby of our institution, we have a board. It's a big board, and on top of that, we just write. It is addressed to Lord Krishna, and we tell Lord Krishna that these are the requirements for the day. And whatever we need, we just put it that it could be a bus or an ambulance thing or food or whatever, clothes, whatever, blankets, whatever we need. So medicines, whatever we put that on the list. Office supplies, it could be anything. So then this was the same question that Amitabh Bachchan asked him. He said, "What happens if someday you need something and by evening it hasn't arrived?" He says it magically does arrive, but says supposing it doesn't. Says then I go and sit in prayer, and I ask myself, have I gone wrong somewhere? Have I not put in adequate effort today? Where I mean, so I do introspection, and he says inevitably it has never ever happened that we have had to go without something which was very very urgent. Sometimes the other things, yeah, they may get late, but something that you really urgently require. And it was such a big eye opener for me. I think it made a shift in me. So I found that episode of KBC amazing. I mean, so this was another example, Parvati Mode, that people are running
Yes,
like
there are
a
many people
lot of,
living this
yeah,
life.
so
Correct.
many people are doing it.
Correct.
So it's just that I think man is the only animal that keeps on storing and saving for the future. No other species on this earth does that, and yet they find food every day, they find shelter every day. So yeah, thank you.
Good, good. Nice example. What is the name of that NGO?
Forgotten. I'll search for it. I have that episode saved somewhere. I'll look for it.
Next week, probably we'll bring
So
that.
it's like that what Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Kshema Mahamim.
Yogakshemam Vahavyam. Yes, that's
Yeah.
what. Okay, Astu. Okay, what we will do is we'll see the next three shlokas of Bhaja Govindam and see how this bhakti, or rather, will what we'll do will, since Bhaja Govindam is sort of it's a Prakarana Grantha, as I said, and as most of us might have realized by now, it is not something as plain and straightforward as it seems. I think that's a discussion. I'll just open it up after this. Okay. So we'll just go through the next three shlokas. Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani ko me tatah iti paribhavaya sarvavasaram vishwam tyaktva swapna vicharam tvayimai sarvatraiko vishnuh vyartham kupyasi sarvasahisnuh सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोत्सृज वेदाज्ञानम् शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ मा कुरु यत्नं विग्रह सन्धौ सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोत्सृज वेदाज्ञानम्. So the 24th and 25th are very straightforward, very similar. Let's see, let's go through the Padacheda and understand them. Kahatvam, Kaha Aham, Kahatvam, who are you? Kaha, who am I? Where did I come from? Kuta ayataha. Where did I come from? Kame Janani, who is my mother?
பாவக்காய் வாங்கவே இல்லப்பா பாவக்காய் வந்து அங்க இல்ல
Nivitya Mahodaya, you'll have to be muted. Sorry. Yeah. Kame Janani. This is the biggest scam. I'll just explain why this is. Kame Janani. Kame Tataha. My father. Tata is. Janani is mother. Okay, there is a typo here. Give me a minute. Kame Janani. Who is my mother? Kame Tataha. Who is my father? Iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram Vishwam Tyaktva Swapna Vichar. Okay. One question to all of us. We were talking about Shraddha, no? Let me ask a question. How many of you know your date of birth?
Most of us.
Of this Janma, I know. We know about this Janma.
Okay. Anybody who says, I don't know my date of birth? Anybody who can say, I don't know my date of birth? Nobody? Okay.
Actually, I can say that because
The next question is,
I have an explanation for why I say that.
no, that's
I
okay.
don't know my date of birth because I was not there. I was not able to read at that time. It's whatever is recorded, right? That's what I know as my date of birth.
Yeah. Fair enough. But no, but do you believe that's your date? Okay, the question should be, do you believe that's your date of birth?
I can't say that because
You don't have a choice. No, you have put it in all forms of Aadhaar card, PAN card, SLC marks card, passport, whatever form
that
we
doesn't
believe
mean I
that,
should
no.
believe, right? That doesn't mean I should believe. That I take it as it is now. I may or may not believe.
Because our
So
parents said so.
the first point is that is something that nobody knows what you're, as in, that is a point you take it as a fundamental truth.
Mhm.
Because none of our mothers were anywhere close to seeing the time and date of our birth when she was giving birth to us. I don't think she was ever in that position to think about that at all.
You just take what the doctors, the hospital tell us.
Yeah, but back in 60s, 70s,
That's about what we
hospitals
can
were
do.
not recording well.
That's about what we can do. There is nothing beyond that. That is the first level. You get into this world with that biggest belief that whatever is told to you is your date of birth.
Yeah, correct.
Correct?
Mhm.
And then it comes and you are put beside and said, this is your mother.
We'll get birth certificate now.
That birth certificate is also somebody is saying, no. Neither you did it nor your mother did it. Correct? So somebody was there, put out some date and some time on that. And we trust it. Second, somebody brought you and put you beside one lady, mother, and said, oh, she is your mother. Then your mother introduced.
And there are examples that they got swapped also. They got babies put into
Sometimes, yeah,
different mothers.
wrong baby with the wrong mother.
Yeah, wrong baby with wrong mother. That also happens.
So the chances of all that, if I take out probability of all this, then you'll know what is the probability of me being mapped to the right things.
Mhm.
So then our mothers introduced us to our fathers. Then the whole gamut of this world began with a state of, functioning. Where are we? So that distrust started from there, that point. Just because we have that concept of Shraddha and Bhakti, we are able to live. Agree? Everyone agrees to this?
Yes. Yes.
It's fundamental. This one is Shraddha there. Right? So that's exactly what Acharya is asking. Kuta ayataha, where did we come from? First of all, who am I? I have no idea. Who are you? I have no idea. Where did I come from? Fundamental question, where did I come from? Why am I here? Who is my mother? Somebody said this is your mother. We are there. Yes, we feel some feelings for her. Correct. True. Who is my father? My mother said he is your father. True, I believe. So everything is based on a belief system which is reaffirmed generation over generation over generation. And that we have created as a society. Iti paribhave sarvam asaram. We go through this assuming this is right. Right? The fundamental structure of this whole thing. He says, give up this. Now this looks like a very dreamy world. If you look at it, it's a dreamy world. I'll just explain why this is a dreamy world. Next slide will come to that. Okay, dreamy world. Looks like a very dreamy world, no? Vishwam tyaktva Swapna Vicharam. Give up this dream, give up this whole state of dream. Because there are so many questions. Who are you? Who am I? Who is my mother? Where did I come from? Trust me, you start this question of who am I. Before you get answer, you would have been swarmed with so many things, you would have progressed a lot in life. The day you ask that question, who am I? The journey has accelerated by so many notches. Okay, that is first level. Look at the second level. Tvayamai sarvatra. Yours, mine. Correct? My this. Or in my, in me, in you. Tvaye. This is in you, this is in me. This belongs to you, this belongs to me. In this, in me. Sarvatra ekaha Vishnu. There is one Vishnu in me and in you. Vyartham kupyase sarva ahishnu. Sarva asahishnu. We don't tolerate each other thinking it is just, I get angry over something, I am upset over something. Why are you upset? Sarvasmin api pashya. Look at everything. Ah, very nice. Beautiful. Two things are one donkey and one bull are going on the street and fighting with each other. Look at it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the fight. Atmanam sarvatra. Utsruja bheda ajnanam. Give up that bheda. That is giving up ajnana. Okay. That is the second level. So if you give up this, then this question of Kame Janani, Kame Tata does not come up. You will say Paramatma. Okay. That, what is that? Yeah. Then, Shatro Mitre Putre Bandhav. In Shatru also, all this is Saptami Bhakti if you not. Mayi, Tvayi, Ekaha Vishnu Sarvatra. Shatro, Saptami Bhakti. Mitre, Putre, Bandhav. Ma Kuru Yatna Vigraha Sandhav. Everywhere that Vishnu is there. So don't try to, do the Bheda Bhava and this. Yes, in Vyavahara you need to do Bheda Bhava. I gave you 100 rupees, so I need to get that 100 rupees back. That's a different story. But when it comes to Paramatma, don't do that difference. That same thing is there in him also, that same thing is there in me also, that same thing is there in you also. Sarvasmannapi Pashya Atmanam Sarvatra Utsruja Bheda Ajnanam. Give up that. Is the same thing that he said in the previous this one. So now does it mean that I will accept everything? I'll accept everything as Paramatma. I'll not see difference between Sushila Mahodaya and myself, or Parvati Mahodaya will not see her as a sister, or we shall say, oh, I am Paramatma, I am Vishnu. Does that what it means? There's a point here. There's a very subtle point that is trying to make. See, there is this, I think I've narrated this story earlier, but let's recollect that story again. Once Acharya was going with his students, with some of his students in a forest. And then after a long 15 days sessions on Vedanta, you are one, I am one, the whole world is one, the tree is one, this is one, everything is one. True. They were going in a forest. Suddenly, they saw that, in front of them, there was an elephant which was charging. And then on top of it, a Mahout was sitting and shouting, get away, this elephant is inebriated, get away, get to safety. So Acharya, first thing he did, jumped up onto the tree. I mean, why, what is this happening? That student said, what is this? Acharya has told me. Everything is Vishnu, everything is Paramatma. So that elephant, I am Vishnu, that is Vishnu, so it will take care of everything. Yes, it came, it trampled him, went away. So probably he went into the hospital or whatever. After he was able to speak, Acharya went to meet him. So now the student was fuming. Obviously, what is this, all this? You taught all the wonderful things that you said, and you run away leaving me aside. How is that possible? Obviously, we'll do that. So the Acharya very calmly said, no, you have got it. You got the gist of it right, but you did not get the wisdom of it. See, Sarvatra, everywhere there is Paramatma. Only difference is you saw Paramatma in the elephant. So it gave you what treatment it had to give. I saw Paramatma in the Mahout. There was a Mahout sitting there, no. So I did what the Mahout said. You did what the elephant wanted.
Why didn't you
So
listen to
both are one and the same.
Yeah.
Technically, both are one and the same thing, because whatever had to happen, you fulfilled the elephant's wishes, I fulfilled Mahout's wishes. That's about it. So if you had also listened to the mouth, you would have also gone. So that is the difference. In Vyavahara, there is Dvandva. No, it depends what you want to take. Now here also you can take as Prasada, Buddhi and Mohan. Okay. So this is the whole concept. So as somebody nicely put it out in various forums, knowing that tomato is a fruit is knowledge. Paramatma exists in everything is knowledge. Right? But not using it in the fruit salad is wisdom. Right? You will not want to put tomato in a fruit salad. That is what is the difference between knowledge and that bhakti-based Atman Jnana.
We can put cherry tomatoes.
Huh?
Cherry tomatoes you can put.
I was going to correct him.
No, not in the fruit salad.
Myself, I was going to say fruit cream is a bit, I think that was what fits there. You can put tomatoes in a fruit salad, but yeah, you can put cherry tomatoes, but not in fruit cream.
Whatever, that's your choices. I mean, that's individual choices. I'm not getting into the debate of whether you like
it's too complicated to go into food.
No, Mahoday,
how you
you
like
have
your
to
fruit salad is
understand.
your choice.
The base in fruit cream is cream. So in cream you can't have tomatoes, whereas in fruit salad you can have it. Yeah. So
as you say, Modia, when you serve it to me, please don't put it. That's about it. That's fine. All right. So in fact, there are many more stories. We'll get to the stories a little in some classes in future also. So let us see. Now we all agree to it that there is a concept of Paramatman which is common across all of us. Sutre Manigana Iva. That is what Krishna says. The quintessence of the second triplet of Bhagavad Gita. Sutre Manigana Iva. That is, I am there in everything. Sorry. Everything is in me. That is, you're all the gems. Different gems can be there. No? You can have a jade, you can have a pearl, you can have a gold necklace, you can have everything. But that the underlying form which holds the necklace, it's what is that Paramatma? There'll be variety. There'll be ruby, there'll be jade, there'll be scarlet, everything will be there. So all these things will be put into a thread, and that thread is me. Sutre Manigana Iva. Okay, so that is what you need to take as Paramatma. So that is the message here. So don't start saying ruby is not jade and jade is not ruby. I don't see Paramatma in ruby. Ruby is this pearl is not that, so on and so forth. I mean, that is a Vyavahara. We need that. We need that. Otherwise, we can't do Vyavahara. Okay. Yes, Parvati Madhya.
I was just listening to this thing about Prahlada and his why he was not when his father made the elephants trample him, everything. Nothing happened to him or the fire because he believed that everything is God. So how did it work there and not for this?
Which one?
Because for this student who did not move out.
There's a difference. There, he had the wisdom. Prahlada had the wisdom of knowing who Paramatma is. And the Mahout was not sitting there, and Prahlada did not have the option of running away from it. He was tied to something and then stampeded upon.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. So, see, why go so far? Draupadi.
Yeah.
The whole story of Draupadi is not about operations management. It's not an optimization problem. I teach optimization. I do data science and teach optimization. Then the question is, if I have if so much reels of sari has to come out, then so much of raw material has to be there, so much of thread has to be there, so much of weaving has to be done, and the rate of the rate of Dushasana pulling
That's
and
not
it has
the
to be the
point,
same.
yeah.
No, I can get into that story. The whole objective of that story is lost out if you get into that, right?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
about
There was,
ah,
go ahead. There was one Kannada, very good Kannada poetry, just a couple, lines. It said about Prahlada and his father. I just mention it here because I remember. It says, I know you might have heard of D.V. Gundappa. He's a Kannada poet. He said, ನಂಬದಿರ್ದನು ತಂದೆ ನಂಬಿದನು ಪ್ರಹ್ಲಾದ ನಂಬಿಯೂ
Shraddha.
ನಂಬದಿರು ಇಬ್ಬಂಗಿ ನೀನು. Whatever he's saying is, whether the Prahlada also, he believed in something, his dad also believed in something. Both believed in, and they both got moksha.
Yeah.
In whatever they believed. Right?
Yeah, that's a good book that Basavaraj Mahadaya is saying is Mankutima.
Yeah.
So there are limericks. There are a set of
Yeah.
limericks, very difficult to translate into English. I think somebody has done it now. That's a very good this one to take up in Kannada. That's a very beautiful one of D.V. Gundappa, which goes on. So there it says, Prahlada, you by believing or not by believing, both will get
You
moksha.
get moksha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, simple thing. Even Hiranyakashipu got moksha. Why? He was
also thinking
He's
about
also-
God, yeah, about Krishna.
All that he was doing was by hating Krishna, or rather Vishnu, he was taking the name of Vishnu over and over and over again. Shishupala also did the same thing.
Yeah.
He
And,
did not like Krishna at all. He was always remembering Krishna. Okay, so that was what he was saying. Yeah. So coming back to what I was saying, I think I was just finishing up that. I forget what I was saying. Telling to Parvati Mahadaya.
No, the Bhakti. No, I was listening to this podcast by Vinay Varanasi, where he's talking about Prahlada and Bhakti.
Yes.
And I was thinking it's so difficult to have that kind of Bhakti. I mean,
Yeah, Draupadi. So Draupadi, the idea is that taking off her hand. See, Bhagavata, this comes very clearly. In fact, when Draupadi's Vasrarana is going on, Krishna is actually playing playing the dice game with Rukmini or Satyabhama, I don't recollect. So at that time, Narada comes, says, "What is this? What are you doing? Your bhakta is getting disrobed and you are sitting here and playing this?" Krishna very calmly replies, as calm as Krishna can ever be. No information has reached me so far. So then Narada does the Maya and showcases, this is what is happening in that court. Oh, is it? Oh, let us see. Then she says, he rolls the die and she says, she's going through that hell and then she's holding her, this one on her waist and then saying, shouting to Dhritarashtra, Tata, Shwashru, her father-in-law, protect. Says Krishna looks at Narada and says, she's asking Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is there. No, he'll help her. Why are you worried? Why am I needed? Then she says, Pita. Then she says, Krishna once. He says. Then she says, suddenly she says, Acharya, Pitama. Drona and Bhishma are there. What am I? I am a small fry. I am a small fry in all this. Drona is there, Bhishma is there, such great people are there. Why are you wasting my time? That's what he's telling Narada. And then suddenly first she calls out Yudhishthira. It starts with Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira, Bhima, all five. Husbands are there. Where are the husbands? They are doing their job. What do you mean I should go there? Keep quiet. Then it goes on. Then she's still holding. Then at the end of it, she's calling out to all sorts of people. She's even pleading with Duryodhana. Then when she knows that it's beyond her force, that Jayadratha, this one, who is that Dushasana, this one is so high, then she says, Krishna. She gives up her hand and puts it up and says, Krishna. That's when Krishna goes. That is the level of bhakti. That is the story. It's not about treadmill and how much you can weave in that weaving machine. So that is the whole idea there. Yes, Nagaprabhu Mahadeva Vadatu.
Mahodaya. In that 25th shloka,
Ah.
it's written not to waste. your energy making friends or with fighting
No,
with
that is not what it says.
like that.
It says Shatro Mitre Putre Bandhau. Ma Guru Yatna Vigraha Sandhau. Don't waste your time differentiating. Vigraha Sandhau. It is not just Sandhau. It's not saying don't make Sandhi. Sorry. You got it wrong if you're thinking it is Sandhi. Be friends. Have friends, have enemies, have sons, have children, everything. But don't try to differentiate and say, the Paramatma in that fellow is different, Paramatma in this fellow is different, Paramatma in me is different. That is the point it's trying to make. See, as long as we are on this
Paramatma
planet,
in him is different, but he is not the Paramatma. Right.
Yeah, he is not the Paramatma. See, he is not the
But the
Paramatma.
person
But the
is not a
Paramatma is in him.
Paramatma.
Or he is in
Yeah.
Paramatma. Better, he is in Paramatma.
Yeah.
He is not the
If
Paramatma.
Arjuna see everywhere Bhagavan itself, how can he fight?
If you have that Avritta Chakshuhu Amritatva Mayan. So if you have that sort of a vision, then all these things will not matter. You will not even have a Shatru. See, what is this?
But
All of us.
Shatru Buddha should be there. Right.
What is
Otherwise, like in ISKCON in Bangladesh, they feed them.
Yeah. So
They
absolutely.
themselves attack them. No.
Correct. You're absolutely right. As far as you are in Vyavahara, that Vigraha is there. Nobody is disputing that. As I said, as jade is not a scarlet is not a ruby. You're absolutely right. Even in Jada, forget human beings. Human beings have many more things. Even in a Jada Padartha, there's a difference. Okay. But if you're saying the Paramatma in that jade is different from the Paramatma in that ruby, then you are wrong. That is the essence of this.
Yeah. So it has to.
So if
it has to.
1 minute, Sushila Madhya. If you're firmly established in that Paramatma, then what happens? These differences dissolve. Then even a Shatru will not be a Shatru anymore. Because there is no form of a Shatru or a Mitra. Ramana Maharshi is a very good example.
But you take it as a dream, no? In the world, it's like a dream. In the dream, you have to act real.
I'll come to that. I'll come to the dream in the very next slide. Hold on for a minute. Hold on for that dream in a minute. Yes. I will take that exact point that you have raised. Swapna Vicharam. I'll take that point. Okay. So for now, just take it as Veda Ajnanam Tyaktva Sarvatra Utsruja. Give up that Veda Jnana and stop saying, this person's Atma is different from that person's Atma is different from that person's Atma. That is all it is saying. To that extent, do we agree? Should we act? We should act. By the way, this never said don't act differently with different people. Is it anywhere saying that? Which point is saying don't act as per the merit of this of that situation? Is it saying anywhere? Situationally, do not act as per the merit. Is it saying anywhere?
What?
Is it saying situationally don't act per the merit of the situation?
No. Act according to the situation, but know the no.
Know that
You
the
have to
Atma, know that the Atma in each one is the same.
Okay.
Is that a clear statement?
Yes.
Clear?
But how can I say if I have this if anyone have this wisdom, they will not have any Shatru.
See, what is Shatru?
For
It is
him,
not saying
for you, there may be no Shatru, but others can see you as a Shatru.
Can it be there?
Doesn't mean.
That is their aropa, no? That is their aropa on you. That's it. Pretty much that's what is happening in Bangladesh also.
You may not see any mitra or shatru. That may be your perspective. But
Correct.
others may see you as a friend or a foe.
Correct. Situationally, then you'll respond to it. Situationally, you'll still respond to that. For the merit of the situation. But then you are seeing it differently. That's all.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why Vedanta has to be very carefully understood. You know, we can't get into that state of not climbing the tree when an elephant is charging. You have the free will and not climb the tree. Let me qualify that given Parvati Mahodaya has given this Prahlada's example. So situationally, out of free will, if you choose not to climb the tree when an elephant is charging towards you, then probably something you have to introspect. Okay. So of course, there are many experiences that can go on. If you look at Chandrasekhar Bharati for his Mahaswami, or for that matter, why go so far? How many of us have seen this a tiger being fed by or lion cubs and tigers being fed by Yogi Adityanath and a lot of others? There is one thing called training. There is another thing called where you are at peace with them. They also don't see you as an enemy. There are many states that can get into that. Okay. Okay. So can we move forward? Let's see what it actually comes up with. A little more detail. Let's do the shloka for this. We just did the Anvaya. Now we'll see the Sara. Kahatvam, kahaham, kuta ayatah, kame janani, kame tata. We ask this question. Swapna vicharam vishwam tyaktva, sarvam asaram iti paribhavaya. Everything is having the same quintessential particle. Quintessentially, we are all of that. See, there's a nature. That's why anything is made up of two, Prakriti and Purusha. Do we all agree? Prakriti and Purusha have to have this component. Purusha component is Satchit Ananda. Purusha, please don't take as male and female. Don't get into that discussion as a meaningless debate. Every individual, everything has a Purusha Vishesha, which is Satchit Ananda. That's the natural state. The Prakriti Vishesha is all about Nama, Rupa and Guna.
Yeah.
Right? The Guna drives the Rupa. Rupa usually drives the Nama. In most Jada Padartha, human beings, we have chosen it in various other ways and we give Nama in forms. So, let us say ruby is red. Is it true? I don't know, because I'm sitting with a lot of ladies here, so I'll be in trouble if I get this wrong. So whatever. Okay, let's take pearl. That is at least white. I can be very safe with that example. Okay, it is white. Okay, so a pearl is white. The Guna Vishesha of that pearl is there is an impurity introduced into that oyster and that generates a pearl around it and it's white in color. And that has a Guna. And it has a Rupa, which could be spherical, it could be oblong, whatever shape it can take. And then based on these, you have given it a name called pearl. Correct? Let me take a simpler example. Okay, this is easier. Okay, I should have thought of this first. Okay, let's take the case of a pot. Gata, pata, mata, nothing goes in Vedanta without that. Let's take the case of a mud pot. Okay, now there is space within that pot. Do we all agree? That space may be filled with air, water, whatever it's filled with. There is space. Right? Now the guna of that space is Ghadakasha. That is basically space inside a pot. You have qualified it as a pot. Or take the room we are all sitting in. there is space that we are all occupying. And we call that the name of that space where we are sitting in is a room. Correct? That space is called a room. Now, why does it have this name as room? Because it's surrounded by 4 walls. Suppose I break down those walls. That is a rupa. The name of room is coming out because of the rupa called 4 walls. Suppose I break down those 4 walls. Then what remains? Only space. Correct. So the guna is the space which is pretty much the same as space externally, just that we have qualified it by putting a boundary around it. Right? That is what is being explained when it says there is difference. The Prakriti Vishesha brings these differences. The Purusha necessarily brings in that Sat Chit Ananda. That is the Paramatma Swarupa. Okay. Now this Sat Chit Ananda will express through the Prakriti in different forms. The Prakriti will influence this, the Purusha will influence the Prakriti. That will mutually keep on going on. And that is where you see this Dvandva keep on happening. Right? The moment it all dissolves back, it goes back to the Atma. That is the whole concept. Clear? Nagaprabha Madhya answers your question.
Astu Mahadaya. Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti is the outside world we see.
No, Prakriti is not just the outside world.
Nama, Rupa and Guna, no?
Nama, Rupa, as we perceive.
Different things.
Prakriti is what creates the perception.
Means Sattva, Rajas
That is
and
the guna.
Guna is the
That is
Guna.
the guna. So that guna drives a Rupa. That Rupa drives a Nama. So put together is what is Prakriti. So any entity is Purusha plus Prakriti. What is Purusha? Sat plus Chit plus Ananda. What is Prakriti? Nama plus Rupa plus Guna. The perception is driven by the Prakriti. However you perceive anything or anybody or any entity is the Prakriti that is driving it. Okay.
Buddhi.
Now it is clear.
Buddhi.
That is also, see, the quintessential, if you go to Prajnanam Brahma and talk about Buddhi, there it is the Satchitananda. But that Buddhi is shrouded by biases, which are brought in by Prakriti. Correct? So now once it is shrouded, that means there is a Nama Rupa Guna to that Buddhi. I say Nagaprabha's Buddhi. Then it becomes Nagaprabha's Buddhi. That Buddhi has a Prakriti Visheshana to it. That Buddhi is different from Parvati Mohadaya's Buddhi. That Buddhi is different from Sushila Mohadaya's Buddhi. Correct?
Buddhi may be varying.
Exactly. Exactly.
Same
So
Buddhi will not be there every time.
No, that is varying only because it is shrouded by a set of biases which are brought in by Prakriti as Nagaprabha. That's a constraint. Nagaprabha Mohadaya, just like the room, you may be sitting in a 30 by 40 room. Somebody else may be sitting in a 10 by 12 room. Still it is a room. Is it a room?
Yeah.
We'll still call it a room. How big the room is, how small the room is a Prakriti Vishesha. Correct, no?
Yes.
So this is where it goes. So we can continue this. We can go on and on and on. Okay, let's move on. So these 3 shlokas are clear. So what we will now do is
Sarvam Vishwam something, it's written Asram something.
Asaram. Sarvam Asaram.
Asaram means what?
Move on. Move
What?
on. Keep moving.
Keep moving, or
Keep
you
moving.
keep moving. Okay. Clear.
Sarvam Vishwam Asaram iti paribhavaya. Keep moving in this world with this bhava, knowing this at the back of your mind. To do vyavahara, you do need to know. I need to know how much is, let us say you need to go to a job and take up a job, right? I can't say you are Paramatma, so I'll give you all the things that you can do. There is a skill mapping I'll do, no? I'll necessarily do a skill mapping and see what is there, how much you can do, and I'll do what you can and cannot do. Do that. But then at the back of your mind, know that you're also that Paramatma Vastu that is there in you. That you cannot say no. Okay. Now, what we are now going to do is, we saw Bhakti. We saw the essential features of Bhakti in the last class. What we will do is, since it's, as I said, since it's a Prakarana Grantha, a Prakarana Grantha will usually have both components of Bhakti and Jnana. Both are one and the same, but then both are paths, both are different, as in both are exactly the same thing at the end of it. But when you're treading on it, there is a way to go about it. So I'll also bring in some elements of concepts that come from the Gnana part. Okay. So this is the highest form of bhakti that Bhaja Govindam is bringing. So he said, as Nagaprabha Mahodaya just pointed out, Tyaktva Swapna Vicharam. Okay. Now, what is this Swapna Vicharam? He says the world is a dream. Okay. So let me bring a shloka for this. There's a beautiful shloka in Dakshinamurti Stotra. The very first shloka of Dakshinamurti Stotra says, I'll just bring that. So if you look at this Swapna Vicharam, he says the word Vishwam Swapna Vicharam, both are in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Vishwam is just a Swapna Vichara. So the question is, how is the world a dream? Is the world a dream? Okay. And Nagaprabha Mahodaya raised that question. I need to act in my dream. I am necessarily going to act in my dream. Right? So let's take this shloka from this. This is the Katvam aham kaha, aham kasmat ayatah, mama janani ka tatah kaha. Okay, it goes on. Vishnu Vyapanashila. We'll just revisit this. I'll just introduce this, then we will get back to this in the next class also. Start from here in the next class. Vishwandar. Okay. Says Vishwandarpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyan Nijantar Gatam. Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bharivodbhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevad Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namainam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. So, of course, Dakshinamurti Stotra is basically, it says it is Dakshina Amurti. So, he is the Adi Guru. So, there's a story that, when Brahma had 4 children, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara, he wanted somebody to be a teacher for him, for those 4 kids. So, it says, Shiva took the form of Dakshinamurti and came. There is a pun there. Dakshina Amurti. That's why it's Dakshinamurti. So Amurti is something that's nameless, formless, creatureless, etc. So it's a beautiful, this one, I'll try to get the photo of Dakshinamurti in the next, this one. So there's the allegory that there are 4 students sitting beside, and then one teacher sitting at the foot of the people tree and starting to teach. And below his foot is that smiling demon. Imagine a demon which is under the feet of Dakshinamurti and smiling. I mean, that is the beautiful this one. I'll try to get that photo next to this one. So it says, and then it starts with the Dhyana Shloka starts with what is that? One of them I had, but that is not the one I want. This is that what I'm forgetting this. What are the role mule? What is that? Sushila Mudaya, do you remember that?
Yes, I'll just do. What are the mole?
Yeah.
One second.
It says
I'll give it to you.
Shishya Vruddha Gurur Yuva Shishya Vruddha. A guru who is young, but Shishyas are all very old.
Padavita
Sameepe
Bhumi Bhage Nichannam Sakala Muni Jananam Jnanadataramara Tribhuvana Guru Misham Dakshinamurti Devam Janana Marana Dukha Cheda Daksham Namam.
Next one. Maunam
Chitram Badadara Mule Vriddha Shishya Guru Yuva Gurostu Maunam Vyakyanam Shishyastu Chinna Samshaya.
What is the beginning of that?
Chitram Badataror Mule.
Chitram Vadataror Mule
Vriddha Shishya
Gurur Yuva Shishya Vruddha Gurur Yuva Gurostu Maunam Vyakyanam
Shishyastu
Chinna Samshayaha. So it says, first of all, look at the irony here. Generally, you have somebody elder teaching younger people. Correct? In this case, it's exactly the reverse. Yuva Shishya, Yuva Guru. Guru is Yuva. He is a young person sitting. Shishya are all old. 4 old people are sitting. Guru's to Maunam Vyakhyanam. Guru ho Maunam. He is quiet. He is not telling anything, but he is doing the Vyakhyana. And this one is, irony is, Shishyas to Chinna Samshayaha. They don't have any doubts. That is the description of Dakshinamurti. I'll bring that next class.
Also, he's quiet while teaching. He's not saying anything from his mouth.
That's what. Shishyas to Gurus to Maunam Vyakyanam. Maunam. He is sitting quietly, not talking anything. That is Dakshinamurti. That is the description of Dakshinamurti. And then he says, Acharya begins the stotra by saying, Vishwan Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Jantar Gatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bharivo Udbhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Anyway, I'll explain that in the next class. We're already out of time. So basically, this world is like a dream. So, yes, this is Basavaraj Bodhaya sent a nice that Mankutima. Okay, I'll just read it out for everyone's benefit. So, Nambadirdanu Tande, Nambadirdanu Prahallada. Nambadiru Vibbandinino, Kambadino, Bimbadino, Mokshavaringaito. Simbaladino Nona Nino Mankutimma. Okay. So what he says is, it is very simple. By believing his father or not believing his father. First of all, Prahlada did not believe his father. Then Nandina, he believed in Paramatma, so he got. His father never believed in Paramatma. He said, I am Paramatma. But he was always remembering that Paramatma. That is Vishnu in some sense. Okay. He got it through Bimba. He got it through that. He got his mukti through that pillar. The pillar gave him that mukti. Moksha. He got moksha. So Gundappa is saying, D.V. Gundappa is saying, you are nothing more than the flying in the phlegm of your nose. Simbala is basically the phlegm inside your nose.
So you got to be
Imagine
either this
yourself
way or that way.
flying in that.
Yeah.
So enjoy yourself. So this world is that phlegm that is coming out and you are enjoying that. So keep enjoying that and don't get into too much of this one. With Bhakti, you'll get there. That's what this whole
Yeah,
this
that's
one
one of
is.
my favorite actually, because I always get into argument with my kids too about how much to believe and how much not to believe, and that's one of my favorite things in giving Kundapas, this particular verse.
Yeah. Next. I'll get that. For that, I'll get you the answer in the next class. There's a beautiful story to get there. So how much? Say kids. The way to handle kids is unless you're doing, the kids will not do it. As in, kids will only imitate you.
Mm-hmm.
They will never listen to you.
And you got to have patience for them to learn
Not
that.
just patience. It's
You
what to
can't
do
have
when.
it instantly.
Are you doing exactly what you're telling them? Are your kaya manasa vacha?
Yeah.
Whatever you are saying, is that what is exactly translating into action without any change in bhava?
Mm-hmm.
That is a question that needs to be answered there. If that is answered, everything is good. Astu. Adya samapayami.
Mahodaya, I wanted to ask one thing. You said, you said about that he is in Brahman. You said something like that. So isn't it there is a difference between Brahman is in you and you are Brahman is in you and you are in the Brahman?
Okay, let me answer that differently.
Brahmasmi.
You are in Brahman. See, all the situations are in Brahman. Situationally, everything is in Brahman. But that Brahman component is in you.
Yes.
Does that answer the question? But all situations are in Brahman.
All. No, you are in Brahman and Brahman is in you. I mean, it is the same. In a way, it is the same. Yeah.
Mahodaya, it's like Prakriti and Purusha are there different or one? Both are one?
Prakriti and Purusha are the manifested states of the Paramatma.
Maya Shakti is
Purusha
Prakriti.
is unmanifested. You mean to say
No, Purusha.
Satchidananda?
No. Paramatma, the super conscious state, will manifest itself as Prakriti and Purusha.
You said Satchidananda is Purusha?
Correct. The Satchitananda is that.
Same definition is for Paramatma, no?
Satyam Jnanam Anantam.
Brahman is same definition, no? Satchidananda.
Correct. You're right. So call it a derivative state. Let's say the Paramatma brings out a derivative state of itself. So the derivative states will have two components. One is Purusha, which is the true Mula, and then the Mula Prakriti with it.
Prakriti is also the Maya Shakti of.
We'll discuss this. Next class, I'll bring more on this. So it's basically saying it is the Paramatma is there. The Paramatma will manifest into two forms, two entities. One, the Shakti form and the matter form. Can I put it that way? In the science, quote unquote science terms. The Shakti form is the Prakriti, which is also leading back to Paramatma. Okay, if you take out the Nama Rupa Guna, this Purusha is the natural state that is coming here as this one. What is that? As Satchitananda. When the Satchitananda interacts with Prakriti, it will get the Nama Rupa Guna.
The whole world is manifest. Sorry, reverse.
Does that make sense, Nagaprabha Mahodaya? Think about it. We'll come back in the next class. Okay.
You said derivatives. Purusha and Prakriti, there are as many things are there, as many beings are there. So many Purushas and Prakritis.
No. There is Prakriti, there is Purusha. Okay. A combination of certain variations of Nama Rupa Guna, a different set of combinations of Sat Chit Ananda. Okay. If I were to give some percentage compositions, I can give it to each of these. So it is not the same. Take the same example as Buddhi that you gave. Okay, or the room. There will be only so much of space that will be there in a given room. It can be expanding, it can be contracted, it can be big, it can be small. All these are Prakriti Gunas. But the very fact that it is a room, you call it a room, means it's a constrained space. That constrained space is the concept of Satchitananda. Now that, when manifesting with Nama Rupa Guna of Prakriti, becomes a big room, small room, wide room, narrow room, concrete room, what is that, RCC room, or thatched room, or tiled room, you want to call whatever you want to call.
Studio room.
Your room, my room, that is also there. अस्तु अद्य समापयामः नेक्स्ट क्लास विल कंटिन्यू अस्तु ओम स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिषाः गो ब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अदनात् सदनात् सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतं सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निराभयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरिः ओम् okay Shalini Mohdaya has put out this one
you wanted
this one anybody wants can take
it's called Apna Ghar Ashram.
धन्यवाद महोदय
धन्यवाद
okay next week we'll have the class
Thank you so much.
धन्यवादः महोदय